Oh my god, it's doing this to me again, y'all. I can't be like this lighting is crazy. What's going on? Anyways, y'all, they posted the skills for the new character. Give me a second. All right, I fixed it. But yeah, Nikke posted the skills for the brand new character, which obviously, if you don't know, it's Ada. That's the first one. So we're gonna take a look and see what's going on here. Again, a lot of text right there. A lot of text. I'm not seeing nothing. We're gonna take a look and see what this is like. Subscribe and like. Let's try to get 10 subscribers off this video and 150 likes. I'm aiming big. Let's go.
Identity? Sorry, that's a secret.
Also, before I get into it, a lot of people saying they don't like her voice actor. I don't know. Like, obviously, I don't know because I can't compare it to the original game. I never played it, but I think her voice actor is great.
I am willing to hear your story, though.
She's a rocket launcher, not a sniper, which is hilarious to me because, like I said, they only make these characters rocket launchers, ARs, or machine guns. And they're both rocket launchers, and then Jill is an AR with a pistol. The community's gonna get tight about this one. I could tell you, the community's gonna get so mad about this. They can't see booty on Ada Wong. Oh my god.
Zxous, these guys are quite persistent. Reloading. This is gonna make quite the impression. You'll have to take it from here. Reloading.
It looked like her weapon changed there for a second. Let me see. We have a new Snow White, 1000%. She is a Snow White there. Let's take a look and see what her skills is like. Her burst skill animation is not good. I think her burst skill animation looks atrocious. Rocket launcher electric. Oh, electric. Electric DPS. Wow. Okay, so skill 1, covert support. Okay. Activates when entering full burst, affects all burst 3 allies who previously casted their burst skill. Okay, so this goes to all the people who use their burst skill beforehand, basically, right? They get an attack buff of 60% of the caster's attack for 10 seconds, a true damage buff of 50% for 10 seconds, and recovers 10% of damage as HP for 10 seconds. That's a really good buff for the people who are not using their burst skill, right? So let's say you have Ada Wong as the second burst 3, right? And then you have, let's use the new Vesti because she's a true damage character, right? The new Vesti used her burst skill the first time. When you use Ada Wong's burst skill, essentially, every time you use Ada Wong's burst skill, the burst 3 that used their burst skill before, which would be your other burst 3, will get all these buffs. So that's very, very nice. And then obviously when Ada Wong herself is not using her burst skill, that's when she should be getting these buffs. The fact that there's a true damage buff there means she has true damage somewhere, right? Which, if you take a look at her second skill, it says activated during full burst, affects enemies within attack range nearest to the crosshair every 2 seconds. Flash grenade toss deals 420% of final attack as true damage. Oh, wow. What? Oh, wow. That's like, whoa. Whoa. That's like Dorothy's effect. That's like Dorothy's effect in the sense of like every 2 seconds she's doing damage. Like this. Right? Right, but this is every 20 seconds. When you enter a burst skill with Dorothy, then turns into 2 seconds. Now, that's distributed damage. This right here is whoever nearest to the crossfire, sure, but 420% of final attack as true damage. True damage ignores defense. And this character is already giving, I guess, herself a true damage buff when you're not using her burst skill, essentially, right? But when you use her burst skill, she'll give herself a 40% attack buff, a 42% true damage buff, and then I guess she has a special modification where for 1 bullet, which is, you know, it says decreases charge speed but increases the charge damage for 1 round. Charge speed decreases by 300%, but charge damage increases for 1,500 percent, right? 1,500%. Now that's quite crazy in the sense of like this character again is gonna be quite powerful. Not only is she gonna be powerful again, Electric just got another buff in the sense of like, this character's a DPS, right? So you're going to gear her, overload gear her, give her elemental damage, attack percent, yada, yada, yada. But this character is giving buffs, which is like attack buffs, true damage buff for whoever that matters for. And it's also giving healing to whoever's not using their burst skill, essentially, right? And again, you don't necessarily need her on the Electric team to get that first skill, but it's very helpful for the Electric team because she's an Electric character, right? You could put her on the same team as Cinderella. You could put her in the same team as, you know, Anise, who's buffing up the Electric. You could put her in the same team as Ayn, or even Scarlet, right? Scarlet and Trina. You could put her on that combo, Maiden, etc., right? If you're not going to put her on that comp, could she be a burst 3 flex character? For sure. Because at the end of the day, it does say affects all burst 3 stage allies who previously casted their burst skill when you enter a burst 3 stage. You could have her as like a flex burst 3 and they would just be rotating between those two passives. Or not those two passives, but the two characters will be rotating between that passive. Now, obviously, the attack percent of 60%, an attacker's attack is quite crazy. It's only unfortunate that it doesn't go to whoever's using their burst skill. It only goes to the person that isn't using their burst skill. So that's like the only kind of downside there. But essentially, it's kind of like Crown in a sense, where it's like the opposite of Crown, actually. Because Crown gives a 64% attack buff of the caster's attack as a supporter, by the way, to allies who are using their burst skill, right? So I feel like that's quite the, like, you know what I'm saying? If you have Crown and this character on the team, who everybody's always getting a 60% attack buff some way, right? It is of the caster's attack for both Crown and Ada, but both of them are getting it in a sense, because Crown is giving it to whoever's using their burst skill, and Ada is giving it to who's not using their burst skill. So I feel like that Ada, Wong, and Crown combo, which obviously you're going to run because Crown is still the best like support in the game, is going to be very good for a lot of the teams. Now, again, when it comes to this character and when she's releasing, unfortunately, she just releases at a bad time. For me, I'm a getter. For you guys, anniversary is next month. Anniversary is in 4 weeks, right? Like, let me go ahead and pull this up right here, right? If you guys take a look, this update starts the 24th. After the 24th, on the 1st, we're going to have Jill come out. After Jill comes out, you're going to have 2 weeks, right? So Jill is going to come out here. The event is probably going to go up to the 8th. If not the 8th, then the 15th. And if it does go up to the 15th, that means the anniversary will start on the 29th. If it doesn't start on the 29th, it'll start on the 22nd. But we know anniversary is not going to start on the 22nd. It might start on the 26th as well. That's a really common day that they start anniversary on the 26th, regardless. But it's probably going to start on the 29th, right? This week right here, from the 26th to the 31st, is when anniversary starts. So you do have technically, because the next week starts, it's 11 o'clock now. The next week starts in an hour. You have 4 weeks now to save. And in 4 weeks, we're going to get 2 events, which is only 2 multis. If I were you, really be smart with what you're doing here. This is a collab character, and yes, these characters are more rare than the anniversary character, but the anniversary character is going to be better than all these characters combined, 110%. But I do feel like Ada Wong is a character that is going to be useful for a lot of certain characters. One, she's going to be very good for a lot of the characters who are not using their burst skill, right? So when you're in a full burst, all the characters are kind of snapping. I think she's going to be really good for another electric buddy of hers, which is Ayn. Ayn has true damage. It is on her, skill 2, right? Activates when near feather summon, like affects one random enemy. That is just the skill 2 thing. So technically her buff would work here regardless if it is a burst skill or not. But I don't know if this only procs. Like, I guess not, because you start off with 4 when you enter the battle. So this right here would be useful for freaking Ayn here. And then Ayn also gives herself an attack buff, a major attack buff when entering the burst stage 3. So realistically, Ayn could get a crazy buff from this, because regardless if you're using Ayn's burst skill or not, Ayn is getting all this right here. I feel like if you're running Ada Wong and Ayn, you're going to see a crazy combo there. Because when you use Ayn's burst skill, Ayn is not getting none of this. Sure, right? She's not getting none of this. She is only getting whatever she has herself. But when you're not using Ayn's burst skill, Ayn is getting her 70% attack buff. She's still doing, her full charge damage increase with every shot for a full charge, whatever, and then she's getting everything that Ada Wong has to offer. Now, there's something I did skip over. I don't want to skip over nothing. Activates when using burst skill, affect self, flash grenade, talk activation, time condition, reduces 1 second for 10 seconds. Flash grenade. Oh, this. Oh, wow. So when you're using Ada Wong's burst skill, it's every 1 second that's proccing then. Let's go back here. Sorry if that's loud. Let me see. So if you take a look at the end, it's just proccing on them. And I'm not being funny, y'all. That's 420% of final attack as true damage. That's big. That's big. Let me give you guys the understanding of how big that is. Let's go to everyone's favorite character. Summer Anise does 382% of final attack as damage to 2 enemies with the highest attack, right? And that's when she lands the last bullet. When you're in her burst skill, that's going to pop off. This is 420% of final attack as true damage, which she's giving herself a true damage buff. She's giving herself an attack damage buff. Like, yo, Ada Wong is probably going to be quite powerful. And again, that's a major buff to the electric team. But I just feel like if you're not, like, Anniversary is so close. It's too close. We're in a scary time. Anniversary is way too close for me to tell you guys, hey, skip out on this character and skip out on this character. Because this character could be very good. I'm not being funny, but Electric doesn't have the strongest characters in the terms of like, well, they do. They have Summer Anise, Cinderella, Ayn, Maiden, Scarlet, even Privity. She could be good for mobs. X is quite powerful. And then also Isabel, I guess, if you're running her with Arcana nowadays, right? But like, if we're going off burst 3s, they don't have many DPSs, I feel like. They have Summer Anise, Cinderella, Ayn, and then I guess Maiden to an extent, and Scarlet, right? So this is quite like another good addition to Electric. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think she's going to be great. I think Ada Wong is going to be a fantastic character, but it's going to be hard. You guys let me know what you guys want to do. I'm going to wait for Jill to come out and I'll let you guys know if you guys should summon or not. But so far, Ada Wong looks like a promising character. Regardless if she's a flex burst 3 or if she's an on-field burst 3, her with Ayn, her without Ayn, her with anybody else on the team, she is going to be very good for a lot of the characters who are not using their burst skill. And that's going to balance well with Crown, who's giving a buff to characters who are using their burst skill. And you guys will notice that when I do the showcase. But for now, let me know what you guys think. It's your boy Zxous, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.